Hey, I'm Nate Dodson. I started the Dodson Legal Group, actually another law firm, back in 2007. It's been a great run. It continues to move forward. But in 2020, had the wonderful opportunity that fell in my lap, thanks to my now partner, Richard Robinette, to acquire Crowdfunding Lawyers. And now my full focus is on helping clients with crowdfunding, meaning helping raise capital and create cash flow to hopefully help people earn their financial freedom.
Smooth.
I do my damnedest.
Hi, my name is Richard Robinette. I'm an attorney. I started with Dodson Legal in about 2005 and acquired Crowdfunding Lawyers.
He's a decade off.
Son of a gun! I've been at Dodson Legal since 2015. Wow, 10 years. That 10-year decade thing really. Hi!
I was thinking it's Back to the Future.
My name is Richard Robinette and I'm an attorney. I've been working with Dodson Legal since 2015 and had the opportunity to acquire Crowdfunding Lawyers in 2020, and we've been blazing ahead with that ever since, helping clients raise money selling securities so that they can fund their businesses and investments.
Way better. I like the, would that be a superhero
No.
sitting stance?
Right. You have to like jump and like land on your knee with a fist on the ground.
Should be practicing
Right.
that.
Yeah.
One of the greatest pictures I've seen this year is a squirrel in superhero stance.
That's pretty awesome.
All right, well now that we're actually here, let me ask you some of these exciting questions.
Let's do it.
What types of lawyers are there?
What types of lawyers are there? There are good lawyers and there are bad lawyers. We try to be the good lawyers. Most of the time we succeed.
Well, and I'll put them in a different category, but you are absolutely correct. Our entire team are the good lawyers.
That's right. Everybody else.
Everybody else, not so good. But I digress. At least if you ask me, there are litigators and there are transactional. And I don't think that there's a good way to kind of cross between that transactional and litigation because of the mindset. You know, the way that I see it, and my lovely wife, she's a litigator. Definitely not transactional. Because she fights to win. It's a zero-sum game. You got a winner and you have a loser. If you do that same thing on a transactional side, those are the deal-busting attorneys. If it's not a 100% win, then the client should move forward with it. The deal dies.
Everybody loses.
Everybody loses. So, but I understand from the litigation attorney standpoint, they don't lose because they said no and they can make up in their mind that, oh, they're just protecting the client. But the client lost. So I see that the transactional attorneys as, it's got to be a win-win. If there's synergy between the two parties, that 50 and 50 can make 110, that's what I see our goal as being, of helping people make the right decisions, but realizing that it's not a zero-sum, only win-lose game.
Yeah, and that was like, that largely just mirrors my transition because I started as a litigator. And the thing that I didn't like about it was the constant like one-upmanship and posturing and sending nasty grams back and forth and whatever, and just nobody, like you were paid not to get along. And when I moved over to doing transactional work, and it's like the goal is for all of us to get along, like that was just such a breath of fresh air and a much better environment for me mentally to work in. Yeah, I love doing the transactional stuff a lot more. And I always cringe when someone brings me like a dispute or a problem, you know, can you help me with this tenant and I'm arguing with?
Well, I've got a really good solution for that. I'm sorry we disagree, Now fight my wife.
Fight his wife.
That's been the secret of it all. I don't even understand that question. If you could do it all over again, from law school on, your legal career, would you do it the same way?
Given that I've already gone to law school.
You've gone to law school. You're
Gone to law school.
sunk.
Well, let me actually, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. I would have done law school way different. And one of the pieces of advice that I was given in law school that I ignored was take a variety of classes. Take classes and things that you've never thought about, that you may not even be interested in, and just get a broad spectrum of experience.
Basket.
And I was like, F that, I'm going to be a litigator, I want to fight, I want to do motions and all this stuff, and I want to go to court. And so I took litigation classes and trial classes and all these classes about, that side of thing. Completely ignored transactional. I didn't take securities law, I didn't take corporations, I didn't take tax. And now I'm going, gosh, what a blown opportunity. Because real estate and securities just weren't on my radar. I didn't never even think about real estate till a year after I'd gotten my license.
Few people even think about like transactional attorneys, guys doing the contracts. It really is a job.
Well, and so much law school, especially like when you first get into law schools, all about litigation. What do? You take torts. You take contracts, but it's not about writing contracts, it's about argument contracts. It's contract disputes. You take property, again, about disputes. You're reading nothing but appellate cases. It's all litigation that first year. And unless you already had the goal of being a real estate attorney or securities attorney, you're probably not even looking at that other stuff. So,
Well, I gotta be honest, I didn't look at the litigation stuff, even though I went through all that. I was trying to figure out my way to do something besides being an attorney. And I accomplished it. After law school, I actually went back to financial services for a while, and I was literally a wholesale annuity consultant. Then I really became an attorney, which it lasted long enough for me to get back to the entrepreneurial roots of starting, running, and building a business. And as quickly as I could, I hired attorneys for them to do the arguing, the contracts, and everything else. And so I could focus on the fun stuff of building the team, building the business, building the home. If you could give one piece of advice to that 1L that is just getting started, what would you tell them?
short the market. Because I started law school in 2008.
Ouch. Okay, what if they're starting today?
Buy Bitcoin.
No, that, man.
If I could go 2008 and tell myself to buy Bitcoin, man, I'd be.
Your 2008 self would be like
this conversation on a yacht.
2008, you're saying, that is ridiculous. There is no way it's going to be worth $20, $30, $40,000. Welcome to today. But no, really, for somebody that's going into law school right now, what would be your one golden nugget for them?
It'd be the same advice that I was given that I ignored, and that is take everything. Take the widest variety of things you can find. Take shit you're not interested in, just in case. Because you don't know, you don't know what your career is going to do. You don't know whether you're going to like practicing in the area you're interested in now. Because learning law in law school and practicing law are completely different universes.
Let's see, if I had to give one piece of advice besides no, don't, run, that would be the first piece of advice.
Yeah, for sure.
Second piece of advice would be to follow your passion. Please see advice number one. But no, I would say that, if you're gonna do it, get it over with. And I'm saying that from personal experience, that I strung those 3 years out to 5 years. My wife, she took that 3 years and squashed it into like 2 years. And I was really, really jealous that she was getting into the real world as quickly as possible. And I kind of delayed that part.
Yeah, no, I took the full 3 years, although my school did have a 2-year program called the Accelerated JD.
Why didn't you do that?
I don't think it was compatible with my scholarship.
Because you got 2 years covered, unless you didn't have a third year.
Something like that.
Got it. Well, let's look at more of these law school questions. Oh, nope, that's horrible. Is Ally Mcbeal an accurate portrayal of the practice of law?
Never watched Ally Mcbeal, but I'm going to go on a limb and say no.
Have you ever seen any legal show that is an accurate portrayal of the practice of law?
I've not, although in one of the Grand Theft Auto games, there's a commercial for a legal drama that's all about transactional attorneys. And so it's like, I need those documents on my desk right now! And I was like, that's okay, that one's probably pretty accurate.
Spot on. Thank you, Grand Theft Auto. What is so not real about the shows?
I think so much of, I mean, most shows are doing the litigation side, the courtroom side, and, you know, I did spend a lot of time in the courts as a judicial extern, and it's not good television. And, you know, it's complicated, and it's boring, and it's, things happen over here, and things happen over there, and, you know, there's minutia they're fighting about, and it's just like, doesn't make good drama. So for TV, they have to really dumb it down, and they have to really, like, you know, put in a lot of things that real lawyers wouldn't do, or, you know, I was watching Matlock one day, and I'm just like, screaming at the TV, objection, what are you doing, counsel? Like, but, you know, I mean, we all watched, you know, the clips of the Johnny Depp trial, and just like, God, the question, you know, can you look at the end of this sentence? Objection! You type this period here. Jeez, so.
You know what, I will say that Johnny Depp trial was unbelievably entertaining. And like, some of the biggest joys that I got out of it is stuff that a lot of people probably wouldn't notice. Like, the attorney that objected to himself. It was very much like going back to that liar or lawyer. Liar.
Carey.
Yes. Objection! It's horrible for my case. There literally was that moment in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
I missed that clip. That's hilarious.
Oh, it was the best. And the other one where she may have been doing coke, she may have been posing for a photo, but whatever it was, okay, now I can answer. I mean, it was cool.
That is actually like probably more common than you think. I did watch a trial of a guy he was accused of assaulting an airline staff, airline stewardesses and a pilot on a flight, and you know, so going to trial, and the whole time this guy keeps reaching into his jacket and pulling out like a little, like he's like sitting there popping pills, like on the low down, or the down low, popping pills in court. So.
That is not smart. If you have any sort of takeaway, don't do drugs, kid.
Don't do drugs in court.
Especially in court. All right. What did you do to get into law school? Was it, or did you like really plan it out, or?
No. God.
You woke up one day and said, yeah.
No, so what happened was I got divorced, and I was just depressed and miserable, and I had a friend that I worked with who was in-house counsel at this phone company I worked at, And I'd just go occasionally hide out in his office, and so I'm in his office, I'm just moping about or whatever, and he's sick of me. And so he goes, "Hey man, you're kind of smart. Why don't you take this test?" I was like, "What test?" And he goes, "Law school aptitude test." Like, it's not even what it's called, but like, he meant the LSAT, so I was
It
like,
sure sounded right.
right? Yeah. So, and so the next day, like, there's like 2 LSAT books on my desk, and a little note from him that says Carpe Diem. And so I took the LSAT just to have something to do to get my mind off of things. And I did really well. And I didn't go to law school right away, but I found a job teaching the LSAT and teaching other people how to beat the LSAT. And then I took, and then I started doing GMAT and GRE and SAT and started teaching all these standardized tests. And I found that there was a personality type that took the LSAT that was different than all these other tests. And I really like these people. So my dumb ass is like, well, if I go to law school, I can be around people like this all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, that was some really bad 20-something year old thinking. Yeah.
I have an equally bad story about why I went to law school. Definitely not to save the world, save the panda, save the rainforest. It was because lawyers made a lot of money. And, I was in financial services, the stock market bubble had popped. I knew I had to figure out something else to do, and I had that thought, lawyers make a lot of money. I'll go be a lawyer.
Lawyers can make a lot of money.
Yes. Okay, my big advice for going into law school is don't do it because you like other lawyers or people that meet that personality.
Terrible idea.
Don't go to law school because lawyers make money.
Yeah, both terrible reasons to go to law school.
What would you say would be a good reason to go to law school?
The only reason, in my opinion, to go to law school is because you want to do the work of a lawyer day to day.
I don't even know what that means.
You shouldn't have gone to law school. Possible second reason, you want to legally own a law firm in a state other than Arizona.
I hear other states are slowly allowing it. I think Utah is
It's
now
probably
one.
coming, yeah, where non-lawyers can own law firms. And then that makes your degree a total waste.
You know what? I got a lot out of my degree. The way of thinking. I think that was the biggest benefit of law school was Iraq. I don't know, but the way to think through problems.
You should explain what Iraq is, because a lot of people think it's a country in the Middle East.
Well, it definitely took all my gold. Iraq. Issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. And that's how in law school you're taught to look at any issue. Then there's some law. There's the majority law, there's the minority of states follow the law. I'm in California, so most of them were the minority rules because it was California, but we always had to learn the majority as well. Then you had to do an analysis of the issue with the rule, through the analysis, and then reach a conclusion. What I always thought was the best part of it is there was no wrong answer. There was just how well you argued it. The Iraq was awesome, but I feel like I still to this day really use that part all over the place.
Mm.
Maybe less in the traditional sense, but thinking creatively about the analysis of problems and kind of being able to think outside of the box. Honestly, I think was the best takeaway from law school.
Would you say taking seeming disadvantages or seeming problems and thinking about them in a light that maybe makes them advantages or solutions?
Definitely that. But just more than anything, like that classic, you look at the little dot grid and you're like, connect it with 3 lines. Well, you can do it if you go outside the grid. Being able to think literally beyond the box is something that I know that I couldn't do before law school, and I really learned how to do it there.
What you got? We should have a montage of all these reactions to the questions.
Oh, you got it. Housing market and your thoughts. Go.
I will never understand the housing market. It just seems to be exploding. You make evicting people illegal and the property values still go up, and I don't understand it. I just write documents about it.
When it comes to like single family homes, I'm actually a little terrified for our nation because of it. The values of houses are so far beyond the average income. Nobody, based on the old traditional, hey, buy a house that's 3 times, max 4 times your income, nobody can do that anymore. Again, the old rules fly out the window, but that still doesn't change the fact that today the pricing and cost of housing is so far outside of anybody's regular, normal, average incomes.
You know what? It feels like that. I did see something on the internet. The most reliable source of information out there, boys and girls.
Yes.
Saw something on the internet that's compared today to 1980, 81.
Okay.
My parents bought their.
Well, yeah, because you had an
house.
18% interest rate.
Yeah, so interest rates were far higher. They were, double-digit interest rates, but also housing prices as a percent of average income was also higher than today. So where we're at this second may not yet be unprecedented, although we seem to be speeding towards it. So maybe we'll pass it. But if those numbers are to be believed, I did not independently verify them, but seem to indicate 1981 was still worse than
Was that like
2022.
the one time, or is this like actually in the past it was the same analysis as today?
What do you mean?
Well, you say in 1981 we had this issue. Was it actually from 1950 to 1990 we
No,
did
no,
it,
no,
or
it was-
1981 very specifically?
It was very much, the end of the Carter, beginning of the Reagan administration time period where inflation was in double digits, interest rates were in double digits. It sounds like my parents may have had it a little bit worse as far as house buying as a percentage of their income than the average family today.
Huh.
That may change, we'll see. And if those numbers are to be believed, which I give that 50-50, I don't know.
Well, if you don't believe them, give me a minute. I'll go and update that
Update the Wikipedia,
page.
yeah.
Yeah. And then it will absolutely be accurate. You know what? I think it's scary to me that so many of these single-family home rental pools, or even neighborhood developments, that are purely for rents. I feel like, the people, the American public, can't afford the houses, so they'll rent, but then they're also losing out, again, on that wealth generation from real estate. But they need to get on that other side of, going back to create cash flow, buy real estate, become the landlord.
Yeah.
Not just the tenant.
And it's really difficult because a bank will look at someone's financial situation and say, we can't trust you to make a mortgage payment of $1,000 a month. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go rent the house for $1,500 a month.
And that's literally what's happening. But do you think that there's a good solution for that?
I think there's problems that can be eliminated or reduced. So one of the problems we have in Texas, for instance, is our property taxes are so high, and all the property tax breaks that are available are only available to homeowners. So if you want the senior discount or the homestead discount or whatever, you only get that break on your taxes if you buy the house. Landlords don't get that tax break, which means the tenants are paying all those extra taxes that they wouldn't be paying if they could afford to buy the house. If something were done to, level the playing field where tenants get the kinds of income tax or property tax benefits that they would get if they were homeowners, that might help a lot.
How would that work? Now, just, bright idea. How are you gonna do it?
So I'll give you an example. I owned a house in Mansfield, Texas, and literally the taxes were over $7,000 a year.
Mhm.
So we're talking close to $700 a month, which is half the rent was taxes.
Well, tell me about you. So when I met you, I remember you had this hybrid car. And you've always had hybrid cars and very, save the world conscious. You are a hippie, I totally get it. You've just splurged on a big old monster soccer mobile.
Just in time for gas prices to go through the roof.
Like massively.
Yeah.
What's your feelings on the gas prices, and is it causing you to rethink anything?
I'm making a lot more now than I was when I bought the Prius. I've actually had 3 Priuses and a Sonata hybrid, and gas prices and fuel efficiency was a big consideration when I bought them because it was broke. But actually historically, I've always tried like these soccer mom vehicles. My first car was a station wagon. My second was a minivan. Third was a full-size van. I've always had these just like soccer mom vehicles. It's just my thing.
Okay. No, really, it's kind of a backstory. I drive a Tesla. Love it. So all of your concerns about gas prices and the gas effects on the environment, all I can say is get a Tesla. Greatest car there ever was. But there's been like a big flaw with them. 3 years ago, I bought this full self-drive package that was to be delivered. And then years went by and it's like, okay, maybe it'll happen, maybe it'll happen, maybe it'll happen. Then they're like, okay, we're about to do this beta. People can start getting it. Except then they created this driving safety score. And as long as you had a 99 or 100, you would get it. And I gotta tell you, I learned how poorly I drove based on the Tesla safety score.
Wait, so the good drivers get the fully automated and the bad drivers have to keep driving for themselves?
It makes zero sense.
Backwards.
Totally, except for one big consideration. Tesla's terrified of wrecks. And so if you can't drive, you're not paying attention, you get in a wreck, everybody just points at Tesla and says, full self-drive, and they got in wrecks, the whole system is a problem. So I get it. However, they apparently don't have as much of a concern, because I will say emphatically this week, I am the proud beneficiary of full self-drive.
Wow.
They lowered the bar quite substantially.
It was like a D- now, huh?
Woohoo! I kind of win. But no, it's so today was my first time really just like click, click, sit back, let it go.
Wow.
It was phenomenal.
I got you here.
It got me here.
Did you have to take over at any point, or did it make any mistakes?
I did have the autopilot. I generally try to play on my phone or read a book or do something. No wonder I got such a low safety score. But yep.
Have you seen the thing now that monitors your eyes?
That's what they got me on. Because I was really annoyed about that happening, so I got this little cover thing to cover up that camera so they couldn't watch me. I don't want Tesla watching me driving and playing on my phone and all that stuff. This morning, they wouldn't let me use any autopilot or self-drive or anything with the camera covered. Now I feel like they are Big Brother, just watching how quick I turn. So,
Plus good.
yes, we will find out on the way home because I'm going to take a nap. But I'm going to get these glasses that have like the eyeballs on the
Do we
glasses.
have keyman insurance for the farm? Can we get that?
That would be a smart thing to
I'm gonna
do.
get that on you just to make sure, so don't die yet. We need a policy in place.
I just want those glasses with the eyeballs so then Google will, or the Tesla will always think that I'm paying attention. But that was the most exciting part of my year so far.
I will say in my defense on the gas guzzler is that now I have an office that's a mile from my house, so I don't drive very much at all. So I was kind of able to justify not having to have like the super efficient car anymore.
And I'll say it's wonderful to see you up here. I think it's been months